What is up, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Glad you all could be here. Y'all know the deal. Y'all know the routine. Make sure you hit the like button, whether you're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded. Whether you're catching it live or you're catching it after it's uploaded, make sure you hit that like button. Lets people know that you are in the building. We're going to be talking about Ime Udoka and more specifically Malika Andrews' seemingly hatred for him. And I want to say anybody black. Shout out to Jason Whitlock, who calls her and a lot of others calls them what did he say? African Americans. African Americans. Very funny term. Very funny term. But shout out to everybody in the building. We're about to be getting on into this, so strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go. As soon as I find my intro, let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
What is up? What's going on? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. I do appreciate each and every one of you making it into the building. Do appreciate each and every one of you making it into the building. Make sure you hit the like button as you come on in, as we get ready to go, as we get things started here. That helps with the algorithm, lets people know that you are in the building. I greatly appreciate that. Shout out to LB Crypto, says another great show on deck. Give it. I think he means to give it up. For the number one show in the Black Manosphere, Bernard Riley. One of these days, I'm going to live up to all that hype, but shout out to you. I do appreciate it. Shout out to She Hate Me, one of the more interesting movies. That movie was before its time with all the black male sperm donor shortage. That movie was about a guy who his girlfriend left him for a woman. That it was a let's be friends situation. And so she went off and with her friend or girlfriend or whatever, and they and that's how him and his girl broke up. But apparently the girl, it was Kerry Washington and another hot chick. They wanted a baby, so they went to him and he gave him a baby. And then more people found out. More people of the lesbian community found out, and then he just became just a sperm donor for the lesbians. And some of them did it, artificially. He, shot into a cup, but most of them he did it. He did it the natural way for most of them. He did it the natural way for most of them, and it had a happy ending. It ended with him and the two hot girls, his ex-girlfriend and her new girlfriend. They seeing as he had babies by both of them, they all just came together to be a happy family. Are we supposed to be okay with that kind of degeneracy? Uh, when it's two hot women involved, it's like all morals go out the door. But anyway, again, shout out to LB Crypto, shout out to She Hate Me, shout out to Jackie Jack, shout out to Freedman's Journal. Says, are black men upset enough to boycott ESPN? Not really. Not really. Now, I'm in the process of getting a hookup to where I'm gonna be able to watch all my sports without a cable subscription. I already kind of got something like that going on where I pay for the NBA League Pass, but my brother is supposed to be hooking me up with an even better hookup. He knows people that knows people. So I'm gonna have something like that going on. Hopefully, I don't know. I shouldn't be saying that on the air now that I think about it. Damn. But anyway, so I'm all for. If ESPN was the only way I could see the basketball games, then yes, I would support that. I would not be down for the boycott. Only reason I could front like I got a fist in the air is because I have so many other ways to watch the games, and so in hell. You go on YouTube. I very rarely just put it on even when I was paying a cable. I don't even pay a cable bill right now. I found another way. I don't even. They're not even taking my money. They're not even taking. There's other ways. When you understand that you just have a niche amount of things that you really like to watch, you figure out you don't need to pay a cable bill. You just got to figure out how to watch the stuff that you want to watch. So in that sense, we can boycott, but it's not an official boycott because if I didn't have another way to watch it, I would watch it on ESPN. But ESPN, they're like we could throw them to the wolves almost. A lot of the discussions are fake and contrived and fake debates with bad arguments, sometimes contrived arguments. And I did something where I talked about the stream I did. It went semi mini viral, like I like 25K views, where I was talking about the unhostile takeover of ESPN, how over 90, probably 95% of applicants for those on air, on screen, on camera jobs, probably 90, an estimated 90 to 95% of the applicants are men, but the on-air talent is usually 25 to 33 to, if not 40 or 50% of the people that you see on the air are women, which means that these 5% of the applicants have an pretty high and unfair advantage when it comes to getting one of those coveted jobs. So that is something that you have to average into the equation. That is something that you have to average into the equation. We're talking about the unhostile takeover of ESPN. I already look at that as weird. I already look at that as weird. That's what they're trying to do with women on there, which is, in and of itself is, that could float under the radar and not be a problem. But Malika Andrews is now making it a problem. And we're going to talk about that today. Malika Andrews is making it a problem. Women talking about football and running routes. Shout out to Cam Newton. It's a little off-putting. There's probably a more qualified person who could talk about that. But whatever. If the person can speak competently about something, then it's whatever. It's whatever. If they can speak competently about something, it's whatever. But when you see what I'm about to show you here today, and I know some of you already seen it, how they were talking about Ime, I'm messing up his name, Ime Udoka being hired by the Brooklyn Nets to replace Steve Nash, who was a horrible coach. He's being replaced he's replacing Steve Nash to coach the Brooklyn Nets. And they're talking about it from an X's and O's basketball perspective, and they're saying he's the right guy for the job. He commands, he has authority. He commands it. He demands it. He's a defensive coach. Their defense sucked. They got like the 29th worst defense in the league. Defense is his main thing. So he's the right man for the job. He's the right man for the job. That's what the men are talking about. They're already past that. Okay, he stuck his dick somewhere he wasn't supposed to stick his dick. All right, we're good. We're good. We got that. We understand that. He stuck his dick where he wasn't supposed to stick his dick. We understand. Okay, cool. He got suspended. Smack on the wrist. Suspended. suspended. Take that scroll off the bottom because I gotta do my graphics better. I gotta bring it up more because that scroll is in the way of the graphics. So I have to figure that out on the next show. See, that looked better. That looked better. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Have to periodically bring the scrolls in here and there. Where we at? Hit the like button, let people know you're here. Hit the like button, let people know that you're here. What was I saying? The men were talking about the X's and O's and basketball wise, why he's the right man for that job. He stuck his dick where he wasn't supposed to stick his dick. He got a more than a smack on the wrist because people are always sticking their dick in places in those organizations. I was just talking to somebody about how wasn't Jeannie Buss a high up figure for the Lakers, and Phil Jackson was the coach when they started fucking. You know, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. They so there's that. There's that. So it's always fraternizing, but that was a bit much with somebody's wife that was in the organization. Somebody high up in the organization who had a wife in the organization. That was a bit much. So he got suspended for a year. If suspended / fired. There's that. And that's okay. That's okay. That was the penalty for doing what he did, and everybody understood that, accepted that, moved on with their life. Not Malika Andrews. That wasn't enough. She is operating in a sense, in a way, as if she want him banned from the NBA. So before we go and get into what just recently happened, and I break that down, and I'm also going to get into breaking down what went down with Kyrie Irving. Got to break down what went down, what's going down with Kyrie Irving. But before I get into that, we do have to roll back the clock. Got to roll back the clock and play some of the hits. Play some of the hits. What I mean by some of the hits, Malika Andrews have been up and at this for a while. So we're going to just do a refresher for those who don't know. Gonna lead into this. Gonna play the hits. What I mean by play the hits, Malika Andrews has been accumulating some greatest hits over the last 6 months over things she just been doing that's just been absolutely ridiculous. And we're going to look at and pay attention to a few things. How the men, how it's like they act as if they're scared to say something to her. It's like they will like ignore her in the way that you don't want to. And like it's almost like they're scared to offend her. You're going to see that with the clip that I show. The clip that I show at the end here. You're going to see that with the clip that I show at the end. It's like they're scared to say something to her. It's like she'll ask a question. Now, what does this mean for women in the organization, and how is this holding him accountable to the women in the NBA? And da 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 da. There's no women in the NBA. I mean, I don't know what she meant by that, but we're gonna get into that. But she'll ask a question like that, and then they'll just look at it, take a deep breath, and then just move on and just pretend like she didn't ask the question. If she keeps doing that, then okay, why is she allowed to continue to sit there and continue to do that? Why is she allowed to do that? And why can't nobody say anything to her? If somebody keeps asking questions that y'all have to ignore on the air and pretend like she didn't ask it, and then just go on and talk about sports as if she didn't try to smuggle in some feminista shit, like that's weird. That's weird that happens. But shout out to Self Talk because I was trying to find some of the old clips, but he's on the front line when it comes to Malika Andrews. He's definitely on the front line. So shout out to him. he's definitely been on this thing. So just to play a refresher, play the hits. You got to play the old hits sometimes. Real quick, a couple minutes. I'm gonna turn this off. Couple minutes, got to play the old hits. A lot of artists run into that. They don't want to play the old hits no more. They want to create new stuff, but you gotta recycle the old hits. I remember when Prince came to my hometown. I didn't go to the concert, but everybody was complaining. This was like in the early 2000s. He came, he didn't perform Purple Rain. Everybody was pissed. He's, and he saw him on TV and he was saying, no, I want to do new stuff. I have new ideas. That was what I did back then. I want to do something different now. No. We want the music that you made when you was high in the 80s. We don't want your been to rehab, sober, clear-headed 21st century music. We don't want the shit that you made and when you recovered from all your problems. We want to hear the shit you made when you was fucked up. That's where the true creativity was. But anyway. All right. Let's roll this.
Suspension.
Stephen A., with all due respect.
Here's a short.
And this lays the good background of when she first, had her issue where she sort of went in about, Stephen A. and the whole thing with Ime Udoka. This is her first time going off about the situation. This is real quick, about 30 seconds.
Version of this video. Let's get into it. Stephen A. Smith and Malika Andrews is talking about the Ime Udoka suspension.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. The fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
Stephen A. Smith was caught off guard by her feminist comments. And this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say.
Let me be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka. The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening.
Malika Andrews.
All right, now good job on Stephen A. This is
you reported that Joe Mazzulla will be the interim head.
Right here, this is her next hit. Actually, it was another hit before this one that I got coming up. But this was her next hit.
Coach here, you can see his resume on your screen. He's been a Celtics assistant coach the last 3 seasons.
This was after they fired Ime Udoka, and they started talking about the new coach, Joe Mazzulla.
After spending the previous 3 seasons at Fairmount State. And he played for West Virginia between 2006 and 2011, and now could become the NBA's youngest head coach at 34 years old. And we'd be remiss not to also mention that Mazzulla was arrested twice at West Virginia, once in 2008 for underage drinking and aggravated assault. He pled guilty, paid a fine, and then again in 2009 for domestic battery after an incident at Morgantown Bar. The domestic battery case never went to trial. It was settled in August of 2009. He paid a $100 fine and court costs, plus had to do 40 hours of community service. Now, that was 13 years ago. He settled and paid both fines. So, Woj, why?
Okay. Brought up something. This man is being hired as a head coach in the NBA right now. She brought up literally some stuff he did in college that was handled and settled with court fines and fees of $100. Some stuff he did in college. He like some underage drinking, and it was a domestic situation at a bar. Who knows what happened there? Either way it go, he was 19 in college. He's in his early 30s now, qualified to coach an NBA team. She had to bring that up. But before this one, and this one floated under the radar. This one right here floated under the radar. This is before we got on to her. Uh-oh.
Michigan State star Adrian Payne.
This is when Adrian Payne, who went to Michigan State, remember he played for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's only 4 years in the NBA. They only gave the man 1 minute. He was in Kobe. Where they shut down ESPN for a week. No, he got 1 minute, and in his 1 minute, she did this shit.
Shifting gears, former Michigan State star Adrian Payne was shot and killed in Orlando, Florida, early Monday morning, the Orange County Sheriff's Office said. And Payne was the 15th pick by the Atlanta Hawks in 2014. Played 4 seasons in the NBA with multiple teams. In 2018, he was waived by the Magic after he was named in a report by ESPN's Outside the Lines that he'd been involved in an alleged sexual assault at Michigan State in 2010. No charges were filed in that case. Prior to playing in the NBA, Payne was a member of the All Big Ten second team in 2 of his 4 seasons.
There it is right there in that man's 1 minute that ESPN gave him to acknowledge him after he died. She wanted to bring up some allegations that didn't go to trial, and no charges were filed. If no charges was filed, it never really went to trial. That means it's a step above hearsay rumors. And the only reason I say a step above hearsay because he did actually talk to the cops. They talked to him, and that was that. And nobody went forward with anything after the conversation and was had. Step above hearsay. Step above hearsay. That's it. She brought that up in that man's death. Brought that up. Completely unwarranted, completely out of nowhere. She's been doing that. She's been on a tear with that. Like, share, subscribe, donate, all that good stuff. Do that. Hit do that. What was I about to say? Damn it. It was something I wanted to announce, but I cannot remember. It'll come back to me later. But yeah, had to get all that out there, get all the refreshers out there on her. And now, because all this was fairly recent. In the Joe Mazzulla, Ime Udoka stuff, that leads right into where we're at right now. Where she's on the same stuff because Ime Udoka, very good, competent, qualified coach. Brooklyn Nets got all kind of turmoil going on. They got Kyrie Irving, who be tripping sometimes, but I respect that he take his stands. He be tripping sometimes, but I respect that he always take a stand on what he believe in. But he's an all over the place, dude. Believe the earth is flat. He be on some other stuff. But I respect that he take his stands. Brooklyn Nets dealing with that. They're dealing with Kyrie. They're dealing with Ben Simmons, who can't throw a ball into the ocean. They're dealing with that. They got KD, who could arguably still be the best player in the league if everything just got right around him, or he just got his head right. They had so much going for themselves. But had first-year coach Steve Nash, who had a really high basketball IQ. You would think he would have been a good coach when he started coaching that team. He was terrible. This year, still terrible. Got rid of him. Who are they going to hire? Ime Udoka is the most, other than Mark Jackson, Ime Udoka is the most qualified person out on the open market to come in and coach that team. End of. He's the dude. He was the first thought. Long as there wasn't any restrictions with the suspension with Boston or this or that or whatever, because he technically wasn't fired. He was suspended. Long as there wasn't any problems with that, he was the dude. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was the guy. And I know I got the name wrong. I know that. I noticed that right when the show started, because it's pronounced Imu. So I spelled it how it was pronounced. And then right when I started doing other stuff, I typed, look at the title. the title I got it right, but in the on the graphics I got it wrong. And it's too late to fix it. So it is what it is. But thank you, Kay. I do appreciate you. But yeah. I am aware that I spelled it wrong on the graphics. And it's spelled wrong in the thumbnail. I can fix it on the thumbnail. It's too late to fix it for the graphics. I have to stop the show and go and redo some stuff, and I ain't that good. I ain't that good to fix graphics live on the air. I'm not. So we just gonna have to lean with it and rock with it. But yeah. So Ime Udoka. That's okay. So they say it wrong on ESPN. I just want to make that clear. Half of the people on ESPN don't say his name right. If it's truly pronounced Ime, they don't even say it right. And we about to prove it right here. When I play this clip. Yeah. They're calling that nigga Hadouken. That's what we gonna call him. Yeah. Hell out of here. The hell up on out of here. But all right, let's go ahead and roll this. Let's roll this not so beautiful bean footage now that we've done enough of the teaser trailer. We got 150 people in here. Make sure y'all hit the like button. And like I said, if you got a share button somewhere, like, share, subscribe, donate, support the stream, make it ring during the stream. Y'all know the deal. Y'all know how that work. You know how it go. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
His locker room. That's when I think one organization also feels it's time to move on.
Yeah. Well, there's a word that Janae used that's just rattling around in my brain, accountability. I'm not sure how that.
Now, Janae, real quick, let's make a few things clear. Janae, the other chick here, I'm assuming that's Janae. Shiny kneecaps, by the way. Actually, I like that. Okay. See, that's why they do that. That's why they put the women on the screen. I'm trying to analyze some sports, and I'm looking at shiny kneecaps and shit. But I like shiny kneecaps on women. You got her kneecaps all shiny, just throwing me off. I'm trying to work here. God damn it! Shout out to Jordan Peterson. They're talking about sexually harassing. You're sexually harassing me verbally with the things you're saying. Jordan Peterson said, "Okay, well you're visually harassing me." He cop a plea whenever anybody challenge him on that shit, but he was right. Don't come in here with no damn high heels on. Got your butt poked out and your pelvic twarted in a way like you ready to get got. Don't come in here with no push-up bra. Got your titties balled up with the cleavage all the way up to your chin. Rosy red lips and smelling good, and god damn it, are they even in the same climate? Got Richard Jefferson and Vince Carter sitting there with three-piece suits on. I mean, do the men be in different temperature than the women? How the hell they dress for summer and these niggas dress for winter? Like, what the heck? Like, are we not supposed to acknowledge that that's what's going on here? They look like Vince Carter and the chick next to him look like they in two different climates. And maybe it's just a camera angle, or his hair chair is pushed down lower, hers is up high, but I don't know why she looked like she's 6 inches taller than him. And Vince Carter 6'8". That must be just some camera trickery in his chair up high. But either way it go, yeah. Just gotta acknowledge a few things before we get going on here. They in two different climates. They are in two different climates. She in a goddamn sundress, and he in a three-piece suit. All right, let's go.
Gets grasped back for Brooklyn.
It can be grasped back, but look, if Ime comes in.
Oh, and I forgot to say that. See, I got distracted from what I wanted to say. When she said that word, accountability was floating around in her head. The context that Janae, this chick here, mentioned accountability was in a completely different context than what she's talking about. She kept throwing accountability into the discussion, trying to prompt somebody to talk about accountability in the Ime Udoka standpoint. Like, why isn't he being held accountable? He already was. He lost a job, the best job that he's probably, at the time, the best job he ever had, where he took a team to the NBA Finals, unsuspectedly even. That was the best job he was going to have. He lost that job. He was held accountable. And she kept trying to throw the word accountability into the conversation, trying to prompt somebody to bring up what he did. And you're going to see later on, she's just going to get frustrated and say, okay, we got to talk about it. He stuck his dick somewhere.
It can be grasped back, but, look, if Ime comes in, and we all know Ime. If Ime starts talking to those guys the same way he talked to those Boston Celtics in a very high level of accountability, don't forget where the Boston Celtics were in this time last year, where they were in January. And then all of a sudden they started understanding his message, and defensively they became one of the best defensive teams that we had seen probably in the last couple of years. Yeah. Given this Brooklyn Nets team, a fit going down the wire with Jan, all the things that they did. No, it's a different.
You're talking about the mentality.
The mentality of. We showed a bunch of clips yesterday of giving up open threes. Mm-hmm. And it all depends.
Keep in mind, she ain't asking nothing about that one. She was talking about accountability. She was talking about something else. He related it to a basketball question. That's what I mean. Like they be.
Are you going to let that?
Excuse me. They be ignoring what she really trying to say, but then y'all gonna see what I mean.
That slide.
When she just basically gonna pound her fist on the table, try to force them to talk about it.
Or are you going to sit people down? Because the Brooklyn Nets are an extremely deep team. So if somebody's not doing the things that they're supposed to, then you have to hold them accountable. I have never been on a great team in my life without accountability. And I've played 4 NBA finals, national championship, Olympics. I have never been on a team that was able to accomplish things without high level of accountability. And I think that's where they were lacking. And I think it showed up in their play.
I want to bring Zach Lowe into this conversation now because it's not lost on.
All right. Richard Jefferson ain't take the bait. He's like, I'm about to get this dude.
Play.
I want to bring Zach Lowe into this conversation now because it's not lost on me that Ime Udoka has done incredible things with the Boston Celtics. But it just seems like if we're having this conversation about Ime Udoka being hired by Brooklyn, where he was an assistant coach, accountability is the word I keep coming back to. Where is the accountability to women in the NBA? Zach, what do you make of this?
Where is accountability to women in the NBA? What do she even mean by that? Let's try to parse out before we hear his response to it. And like I said, it's like they just keep trying to talk around her, and she's a host of the show, but so it's like they can't say anything, so they just try to avoid her agenda-driven questions. But what the hell does she mean? Accountability to women in the NBA. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Brooklyn Nets organization hired this man as head coach to coach a team full of men. Who is she talking about? Women in the NBA? Who? I mean, is she talking about the Brooklyn Nets? I know the Lakers call them Laker girls. I don't know what the Nets girls. Nobody else call them Nets girls. The staff. Okay, the random females on the staff. Okay, females who are stakeholders, employees, vendors, ownership. Okay, all right. That's an answer. That's what she meant by women in the NBA. So what she's essentially saying is, how can we do this? How could they hire him? Shouldn't they be accountable to female employees to where they shouldn't let this monster who engaged in consensual sex work for their organization? So if she's saying that the women that works for any organization in the NBA, they have to be accountable to them, and they have to be accountable to them to make sure that they don't let Ime Udoka work for them, then that goes back to what I'm saying here in the graphics down there. Is she essentially saying that the act of him committing the act of consensual sex, yes, he was cheating on his woman, and the woman who he was messing with was cheating on her man, and that man happened to be a high-ranking person in the organization, and the whole works. It was messy, it was sloppy. Basically, she's saying being messy and sloppy with your dick warrants you banned from the NBA. Let me know if I'm reaching by coming to that conclusion. If that's what it is, if that's what it is, that they have to be accountable to every woman. Every woman now has even the concession stand workers have organizational power at that point. They got to be accountable to them, that you can't let somebody who had consensual sex, inappropriate consensual sex. I'll say that. Inappropriate consensual sex. You can't let them in the organization anymore. If you're essentially saying that, she's basically saying that act of consensual sex should have him banned for good. That's the only, she's not saying that. And it's a lot of times people say that. They'll say, I never said that. But if you parse out everything they said and follow it all the way home to its logical conclusion, that's the only intelligent, rational conclusion I can come to. That if hiring him is a problem, because you got to be accountable to the women in the organization. Was it a certain amount of time that goes by where you no longer got to be accountable for whatever he did that she think is so bad? So no, she's basically saying she wants him banned. She wants him banned for having sex with a colleague. The same thing that she's doing. It's really the same thing that Jenny Buss and Phil Jackson was doing. Now it was inappropriate because it was, it was messy for other reasons, but still, that's what she's saying. But all right, let's look at his response or lack thereof.
Lost on me that Ime Udoka has done incredible things with the Boston Celtics. But it just seems like if we're having this conversation about Ime Udoka being hired by Brooklyn, where he was an assistant coach, accountability is the word I keep coming back to. Where is the accountability to women in the NBA? Zach, what do you make of this?
Let's just rewind the whole thing. The last 16 months in
back to where is the accountability to women in the NBA? Zach, what do you make of this?
Let's just rewind the whole thing. The last 16 months in Nets land, after, as RJ said, they were very close to unseating the Bucks and doing who knows what in the playoffs when they had what will now forever be known as the greatest theoretical team in NBA history. Here's what's happened since then. And I had to write it all down, culminating in Ime Udoka's hire, which I'll get to, I promise. Number one, Kyrie Irving refuses to get vaccinated, misses most of last season.
Yeah, see how he ignored the shit out of her question? Do you see how he ignored the shit out of her question? Like wholesale ignore. Like, bitch, you ain't dragging me into this bullshit. Christian Hutchinson in the building, and he's saying, hey, that date ain't right. That says October 17th. We not time traveling, are we? Let me know if you're changing the date on that. I'll start talking about it. I don't know. We haven't formally talked about what's going on this month. We haven't formally talked about what's going on this month, but let me know. We'll talk about it. Let me know. We'll talk about it. But shout out to Christian Hutchinson in the building, says Kyrie, KD, Ben Simmons, they are like the juvenile delinquents who go to boot camp. If someone makes them act right, they will fall in line. Yeah. I mean, I kind of don't want to say that about KD, but I mean, KD is not a problem. He's just I don't know. He's just kind of sensitive. I can't really explain KD. Ben Simmons is kind of new and been injured. Kyrie is a head case, but he did get his act together in Cleveland for a period of time, and then he snapped out of it once they got a championship, and he just started, thinking crazy and had crazy ideas of grandeur and all of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I kind of can go with what you're saying, but I think Ben Simmons is gonna be, or I don't know. It's a tough cookie to crack. And even talking about trading Kyrie, which I'm all for it. If the Lakers could somehow get in on that sweepstakes, I'm all for it. Even though I like Russ, I like what they doing. Westbrook coming off the bench. I'm watching that game tonight. Westbrook balling coming off the bench, and Lakers played like the best game of the season. Where homeboy Matt Ryan. They just brought some white dude off the street to hit a three from the corner to send it in overtime. Oh man, that was a beautiful game. That was a beautiful game. Hoop jargon in the building. He said they should ask her implicitly, how much is enough accountability? Guarantee she'll not be able to answer. Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm getting at here. That's essentially what I'm getting at here. She's literally like I hate to leap to the conclusion that she's basically saying she wants him banned. Hey, hold on, don't make me flip this one into a sports show. I mean, it's a sports show in a Jason Whitlock kind of way where we're criticizing the politics of sports. We're talking about the politics of sports. Don't make me turn it into a full-blown sports show and start just talking about the Lakers. I'm all for LeBron right now. I can't wait. You're gonna pass Magic on assists, gonna pass Kareem on the points. Man, if he could just squeeze one more championship out, I'm all for it. I want Jordan is the GOAT. I just want the debate to be more interesting. So I want him to accomplish as much shit as possible. So to help, so when he retire, the arguments are even more intense. That's all. I just want more intense arguments about LeBron and Jordan. That's it. So I want him to squeeze another championship out some way, somehow. I'm rooting for him. Yes, I'm a LeBron fan. Yes. His hairline fake. He need to just go and shave it off. He's cheating. He got that where they cut the hair off from the back of your neck and then put it on you. That's why his hairline all fuzzy and shit. All that shit is fake. But I'm all for him. I want to see him. Get it done. The Lakers started out 0-5, hot garbage. They just won their last two, and as of right now, you can't tell them shit. 2-0, goddamn it. He got that hologram hairline. He got that Invisalign. He got yeah. I'm all for it though. But it's pie in the sky hopes right now. I mean, they on a hot run. Darvin Ham finally, grabbed his. Well, I don't even want to disrespect Darvin Ham, but he did what he had to do to get Westbrook to buy in to coming off that bench, and Westbrook plays good off the bench. Brings spark, energy, hustle, and effort. And he even had to shout out to Darvin Ham. Just last thing I'm saying, we'll get back to this shit. Darvin Ham had the testicular fortitude to bench Russell Westbrook, not just at the beginning of the game, but at the end of the game, particularly after he took a bad three-pointer that almost costed that last game. Yeah, Darvin Ham. I didn't forgot he was from Saginaw, but yeah, no doubt, Darvin Ham from Saginaw. Friggin' he set Westbrook in the last 4 minutes. I love that. That's saying I'm a first-year head coach. I'm young. I was recently playing in the league, but you know what? I got the heart to tell this first ballot Hall of Famer, I got to bring you off the bench. I mean, I got I just got to bring you off the bench, but two, you're not even going to finish every game. If we need floor spacing and better shooting to wrap up this game, then I got to sit you down. Yeah, you're a Hall of Famer. I got to sit you down. Like that's huge. That's huge. So like once I saw that, I'm hopeful for the whole season right now. Whether they trade him or not, I'm hopeful for the whole season. As long as Darvin Ham got the nuts to basically say, Westbrook, tonight not your night. The nights when you come off that bench and you give us hustle, effort, energy, and all kind of hustle plays, and you get into the basket and this or that, then yeah, you're gonna be out there, provided that you're helping us. If I think that this is one of those games where you're hurting us and we need the ball out of your hands and we need it in LeBron hand, and if the ball in LeBron hand, you're useless, I'm sitting you down in the fourth quarter. If Darvin Ham got the nuts to do that, the Lakers can be a respectable team. That's it. All right. Perfect Storm in the building says LeBron got a wave front. Yeah, well, see, no. That's Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose is the one with the man unit. LeBron did something else. LeBron got some little fuzzy, prickly little hair from the back of his head, the back of his neck. That's why I be having them bald blends all the time now. They cut all this off and then just sprinkled all that shit right here. Yeah, that's LeBron's game. But all right, let's get back into this. Now, basically what happened here is that friggin' she tried to force a conversation. She did. She literally tried to force a conversation about Ime Udoka's transgressions in Boston. Basically, like, we have to talk about that. We can't talk about this man who got suspended because of what he did, paid the fine, had $1 million job, one of the best gigs in the league, coaching young, talented players. They overachieved. They got to the finals. He was in the driver's seat for the rest of his career. He made a horrible mistake because you're a multi-million-dollar famous head coach, still young. There's plenty of young tail you could get. You didn't have to go mess with the owners, the general manager's wife. That was stupid, habitually stupid. He made that mistake. It costed him big time. And now he's kind of starting over from scratch with a dysfunctional team. Yeah, that's the penalty for sticking your dick where you weren't supposed to stick your dick. That's a stiff penalty for sticking your dick where you weren't supposed to stick your dick. But That's what it is. That's what it is, and that's where it's at, and that's what's going on, and that's his penalty. That's his price that he has to pay. He's paying that price. She's saying it's not enough. How can they hire him? They have to be accountable to women. Here's the deal. When I talked about Mark Cuban, who had some dude who had some serious domestic violence cases and all kind of stuff, and some sexual harassment cases with the women at the job, and there was some reports where you could see his wife beat up and bruised and the whole works. I hope I'm getting that story right, because it was a while ago when I covered it. When we saw all of that, and then Mark Cuban didn't fire the dude after all that stuff leaked out, then I understand the argument. Hold on, you're gonna let this, you got women in your organization, and then you're letting this this career offender of, when it comes to violent crimes against women, be just working freely around them. I understand the argument there. That's not this. But she's trying to put the mere act of cheating on your wife up there with physical violence, domestic violence, or sexual violence in some kind of way. She's trying to put it up there with that. You got to be accountable to the women. You can't hire this guy. That's what she's trying to do. And none of the men want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. None of them want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. This guy just habitually 100% ignored it outright, dismissed it out of hand completely. But that's what's going on here. That's the latest on Malika Andrews, trying to basically imply that Ime Udoka should not be hired by the Brooklyn Nets. And if he should not be hired by the Brooklyn Nets, well, when should he be hired? Is it like a certain amount period of time where it's going to be okay for him to be hired? If she can't answer that question, then she's basically saying banned from the NBA for doing something similar to what she's doing when she, was in a relationship with a colleague. And shout out to, like I said before, Jenny Buss and Phil Jackson. Now that brings us to Kyrie Irving. Who's playing for the Brooklyn Nets. These two stories kind of tie in together, because Kyrie Irving is potentially going to be coached by Ime Udoka in the event that they don't trade Kyrie. Now, Kyrie is in all kinds of trouble. Shouldn't be, but he's in all kinds of trouble. Like this story, oh damn, I didn't realize that graphic was that big. Relates to the Kanye West story. Y'all want to know what that is? Everything y'all see right there in red, those are all the TV. Right, what you see right there is all the major TV stations. Everything in red is owned by Jewish people. Everything in red is owned by Jewish. Those are major media companies. Everything in red is owned by Jewish people. Let's just let that think in. I said, let's think about that, or I said, let that sink in together. Let that think in. No, let that sink in. So they got their hands in everything. Now, Kyrie Irving is running into problems with those folks. Kyrie Irving is running into problems there. He did, and holy crap, where is my, I've been priding myself in having everything ready to go before the show, and I somehow don't got this clip ready to go. But long story short, now I'll pull it up while I'm talking here. But long story short, Kyrie Irving posted something on Twitter. The book, Negroes to Hebrews, or Hebrews to Negroes. It's in the thumbnail. Probably shouldn't have put that in the thumbnail. I'm playing with fire. He posted that. Didn't sound that much like he really watched it, but he posted it. Let's just assume he watched it. Now let's let me pull up a few things, because this has been an ongoing thing here. Where they've been doing that whole little dance where they're trying to get Kyrie Irving to apologize. I don't completely understand this thing. All right. I never completely understand it. And I'll try this. I don't got the exact one that I wanted ready to go, but this one may go. But I don't understand this thing where they go seemingly really far out their way to make sure this person apologizes. It's not just, they were talking like, had he gave an unequivocal apology, he would have probably not got suspended 5 games. And I'm like, if what he did was wrong and worthy of a 5-game suspension, then it's worthy of a 5-game suspension. Whether or not the grown man looks in the camera and says, "I'm sorry," that shouldn't have any bearing on the suspension. It's like, we're not going to suspend you if you tell, like, it's almost like, how when 2 elementary school kids are getting to it, they have a little fight over the crayons or something, and they both still mad. They had a little fight. They both still mad, but you take little Johnny and little Timmy and say, "Okay, Timmy, tell him sorry." And Timmy is still clearly pissed, but you're trying to make Timmy say sorry to Jimmy. It's like, the apology don't mean shit if you make somebody do it. So it's like, but it's so important to them that the public sees this man enunciate the words, "I'm sorry." I'm gonna show the tape to basically prove what I'm saying. And you see that, you saw that with Kanye West. You see that with everybody. Whenever they say anything about the Jews, it turns into a situation where we have to hear a public apology for everything to be okay. You have to hear a public apology for everything to be okay. And it's like a weird thing that, like, put it like this: never not once in my real life have I seen something bad really happening. I understand history, but just in your day to day, it's just like you don't see it. But they're like, I don't know, they act like perfection. We're talking about the victim narrative in the Black community, but they act like victims real strong. It's like they're the victims and the bullies at the same time. It's like a weird thing. And I'm not gonna get this sent to Patreon. I'm not gonna get this into Patreon. But it's like they do a weird thing where it's like, they got the power to end your life, but we're gonna make sure that your microaggressions, I shouldn't say in your life, they got the power to ruin your life, like what I mean, or take from you. They got the power to take from you, like they're doing Kanye West. They got the power to take billions or millions out your hand if you have billions and millions. They got the power to do that. When you got that kind of power, you ain't supposed to be worried about microaggressions. It's like, if you're a king, you're a ruler sitting on a throne. It's like, it's like they make a big fuss about a peasant throwing a pebble. It's like if they've won the game of open free market capitalism, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They've won that game, damn near fair and square. So I don't know how you win that game that decisively to where you're in full-blown position where you own things at this rate when it comes to media, which means you own the narrative, you control the narrative, you create the narrative, you sell the narrative, you profit off the narrative, you are the narrative. Like, you got it. You won. It's like, so it turns into a weird situation to me when I watch these things play out, because I mean, it's like they conduct themselves like, yeah, Carlton Banks, you know where I was going, victim kings. Yeah. They what was I going to say? It's like they're sore winners. That's my analysis of them. They're sore winners. Like, they've won the game. They've won the game. Every measurable way you look at it, break it down, they've won the game. But it's like they're being sore winners. The person who's losing the game, he has a lot to say, a lot to complain about. And anybody do any little thing to him, any slight thumb on the scale, he gonna notice it, because he already losing. So if you see a slight thumb on the scale, it's like, oh, the sky is falling. You're holding me back. But the person who's winning the game and has the power to put the thumb on the scale is like, but you complain about every little thing somebody say about you. It's like, you're being a sore winner. You're being a sore winner. We understand. I'm not saying it's okay to be a sore loser, but we understand the sore loser. I don't understand the sore winner. Thank you, Jackie. That's very well said. They are winning the Victim Olympics and the Success Olympics. How you winning both of them? Yeah. Yeah. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. But all right, let me go ahead and get into this. Let me go ahead and get into this before I get taken off the air.
Are you sorry for the hurt that your post caused people?
Now, notice that's the first question. Notice that's the first question. It was some other questions before that, but he said, damn it, I wish I had the right clip. He was speaking before this. And he said they asked him a question about something and he gave an answer. Theo, what in the hell? What, you know what? I was looking at my members list and I saw a picture because when you look at the members list, like when they just show it on the channel, I saw the picture of that white woman and I was like, who the hell is that? Did some random blonde white lady just become a member? I didn't know who the hell that was. And then I look right now and I see the same blonde white woman and it's Theo. Why you coming in here disguised as a white woman? This ain't white chicks. Theo done put on a white woman suit and coming in here throwing everybody off. But anyway, shout out to Theo. They so they had asked Kyrie something about, they asked him a question, something about something, and he gave a typical answer, so to speak, but it didn't really cut to the core of what they really wanted. They wanted to hear an apology. So that's why he circled it back. You're about to hear him circling it back. This is the most important thing. They have to hear the person enunciate the words, "I'm sorry for what I said." It's like they want to make people say sorry. Like I said, like two little kids got into a little fight, a little scuffle. They still sitting there mad. Both of them, they got tears in their eyes. They frowned up. They mad. They got him saying sorry, and they forced one of the kids, to say sorry, and he like, sorry. He don't really mean it, but but it's like it's gonna make the other kid feel better because he heard sorry. They're like, okay, Jimmy, little Timmy said sorry, so okay, so are you that makes it better now? It's like why does everybody gotta act like children and do formal public apologies like that? This is weird to me.
Hindsight, are you sorry for the hurt that your post caused people?
I'll take my responsibility for posting that. Some things that were questionable in there, untrue. Like I said, and the first time you guys asked me when I was sitting on that stage, I don't believe everything that everybody posts. It's a documentary. So I'll take my responsibility.
It seems like Adam Silver wanted to hear the word "I apologize," or in your mind, you said, "I didn't mean to cause any harm." Were you apologizing, or were you not apologizing?
I didn't mean to cause.
Yeah, see how he's doubling and quadrupling down on because Adam Silver, for those that don't know, that's the NBA commissioner. It's like, it seems like Adam Silver wanted to hear you say absolutely that you apologize. You said you accept your accountability for what you did. Now, is that a sorry? Let me hear you say it. I want to hear you say, I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry. That's what they keep doing.
When you guys asked me when I was sitting on that stage, I don't believe everything that everybody posts. It's a documentary. So I'll take my responsibility.
It seems like Adam Silver wanted to hear the word "I apologize," or in your mind, you said, "I didn't mean to cause any harm." Were you apologizing, or were you not apologizing?
I didn't mean to cause any harm. I'm not the one that made the documentary.
What are the specific things in the documentary that you don't believe are true and that you don't believe represent your cause?
I think some of the criticism of the Jewish faith in the community, for sure. Some points made in there that were unfortunate.
Kyrie, are you surprised that you did hurt people?
Surprised that I did hurt people.
Are you surprised that reaction and some of the things that you did hurt people?
Like, tell me if I'm wrong here. Tell me if I'm wrong here. That are you surprised that you hurt people? What you said, it hurt people. People were hurt by what you said. Is it's like a trumped up level of he said they got hurted. It's like the and I'm trying to go there. I ain't even trying to get I'll just be clear. I click on y'all comments. It's like the people that I'm walking on eggshells right now, trying to make sure I don't say nothing to get my channel taken down because they legitimately got that much power, are still walking around on some in a feelings, and you hurt me. You said you posting that the microaggressions. It's like damn. Like, I understand the powerless fighting and scratching and scraping and scrapping for every little bit of, every little win they could get. I understand that to some degree, even though I don't like the victim narrative on anybody. I don't like the victim Olympics being played by anybody. But you can at least understand some aspects of it if you're talking about somebody who's powerless or don't have as much power in the situation, and they're trying to fight and gain whatever little leg up they can. But the person they legit got the power and influence to push for Kyrie to be banned for a year, just like there's power and influence to make Kanye go from supposedly worth $6 billion to supposedly worth $400 million, seemingly overnight. Like, that kind of power is deep and worried about. You hurt us. It hurt. It hurt me right here in the chest area. It's like, it's just weird. It's weird. People who in modern day America, I don't know of anything happening to them. It's like, I don't even I don't see or know of anything that really happens to them bad. Like we can identify certain things when it comes to being black in America. And again, I don't do the victim Olympics, and when but we can identify things. There's other people more competent than me to do it because that's what they do for a living. I don't do that for a living. Just point out every area where being black is bad. But there are people who can make a whole living talking about how there are things, barriers, statistical facts of reality that shows that when you're black in America, these are the outcomes that you going to get, and those outcomes change the perception that people have of you, and the perception that people have of you, even if you aren't associated with those statistical outcomes, people do view you that way, like you're guilty until proven innocent of being a decent, competent human being. Like, we can look at that, even if we let go of the aspects of the victim Olympics that too many black people play. Even if we let go of aspects of that, you can still look at that and understand where it comes from. But when you take that and you translate it over to Jewish people, they're not currently going through that. They got something horrible in history that happened and went down just like us. And I look at them as sort of like what Kanye was saying. They're an example of how you roll your sleeves up and you go and be great. And that thing that happened is in the past, and it ain't even a bother and affecting you really right now because you on top of the world. That's the example. That's what Kanye was really saying. And that's what he was saying he wanted black people to embody. That's what Kanye was saying he wanted black people to embody. And I'm 100% with Kanye on that. But it's like the people who embodied that and did that and accomplished that, it's like they're still trying to complain about or have get in the disenfranchisement conversation. Like, that's not y'all lane. That's not their lane. That's all I'm saying. That's not their lane.
Yeah, I think I can ask a better question. It's just
that reaction and some of the things that you did hurt people.
yeah, I think I can ask a better question. It's just, where were you when I was a kid, figuring out that 300 million of my ancestors are buried in America? Where were you guys asking those same questions when I was a kid, learning about the traumatic events of my familial history and what I'm proud to come from and why I'm proud to stand here, and why when I repeat myself that I'm not going to stand down, it has nothing to do with dismissing any other race or group of people. I'm just proud of my heritage and what we've been through, and the fact that this has pinned me against the Jewish community. And I'm here answering questions of whether or not I'm sorry or not on something I didn't create, and it was something I shared, and I'm telling everybody I'm taking responsibility, then that's where I sit. So, these same questions that you guys ask, me dealing with it as being a melanated, pigmented person all around the world and dealing with racial biases against my skin color, demeaning me because of my religious beliefs, and I'm still sitting in the seat standing. So I take my full responsibility. Again, I'll repeat it, for posting something on my Instagram or Twitter that may have had some unfortunate falsehoods in it. But I also am a human being that's 30 years old, and I've been growing up in a country that's told me that I wasn't worth anything, and I came from a slave class, and I come from a people that are meant to be treated the way we get treated every day. So I'm not here to compare anyone's atrocities or tragic events that their families have dealt with generations of time. I'm just here to continue to expose things that our world continues to put in darkness. I'm a light. I'm a beacon of light. That's what I'm here to do. You guys ask me questions about basketball, I give you my expert opinion. You guys ask me about other things, I give you my opinion, and it's met with whatever you believe the perception or the deception is. You guys investigate my life every day, and you justify it by serving your own purpose, which I honor. I would like the same respect in return, figuring out just like anyone else. So please keep that same energy when we're talking about anti-other things, because just because I post a documentary doesn't mean I'm anti-Semitic, and doesn't mean that I'm automatically standing with everyone that is believing in it. So it's unfortunate timing that we're in, but I'm glad that I could stand on the truth, because I'm not afraid of these mics, these cameras. I used to be looking everyone in the eye and telling them the truth, and I'm proud of who I am. Any label that you put on me, I'm able to dismiss because I studied. I know the Oxford Dictionary, you look it up, right? Just one of the biggest mistakes I had in being a kid was not knowing European or Western language until I started looking it up and understanding the definitions and why they say, if you want to trick a black person, put it in the book. I was wondering my whole life why they said that. Now I'm 30 years old and I know reading is a superpower because it helps me understand where I'm going and where I come from. Like a tree.
All right. So what he essentially did right there, he kind of basically turned the victim, he turned the victim Olympus back around on him, really, because that's what they trying to play on him. They trying to be the victims, and he's like, nope, we don't play that game. I got to talk about my history. And that's what I care more about. That's what I'm more concerned about. And if some feelings was hurt, I take accountability for posting that. I am a public figure. I take accountability for posting it. It probably was some things said in there. I mean, I think the thing did deny the Holocaust. Okay, so cool. I mean, yeah, that if it was going that far, then yeah, they probably I haven't seen it, but they probably was in there clowning. And so yeah, okay, he's basically just saying that, all right, cool, I take accountability for posting that. I'm a public figure. I represent the company I work for. So I'll take responsibility. You're not about to get me to say sorry. And if you're about to talk about how hurt they were, about how, because, history and whatever some people are supposedly, whatever people are still doing to them, he say, no. If we're going to play that game, my people got just as much claim to victimhood. So that's basically what he turned it around on him. Now, look, like I said, no fan of the Victim Olympics. But I remember it was a Dave Chappelle joke when he said that he got into it with a Jewish person, and they were going back and forth about who suffered the most or whatever. He basically said him and the Jewish person was doing the Victim Olympics together, and he did acknowledge this Jewish man was a formidable opponent because he was like, and they started talking about the Holocaust, and he started talking about slavery, and then they went all the way back to Egypt. And he was like, "Damn, I didn't know he's going back that far." So yeah. So I mean, he started to pull out the Bible on him and all that stuff. So it's so yeah. That whole Victim Olympics game to me is tired on all ends. But I'm not going to knock him fighting fire with fire. I'm not going to knock him fighting fire with fire. They want to do that, even though I think they've conquered the victim game. Like what did Jackie say? They won the Victim Olympics and the Success Olympics. They win in it all. So it's like I'm the whole term, anti-Semitic. I don't even understand it. I don't know any, I honestly don't even understand it. But he flipped that around on them, and he stood on his square. He basically, and he kind of talked around it, and it was some good things that was said, mixed with a little word salad, mixed with a little I'm talking just to talk, because I'm not answering y'all questions, because y'all not gonna get me to look in this camera and apologize. That was essentially what was going on right there with Kyrie. Now, more importantly, after he did this, and I don't know if it was before or after he got suspended, it was a formal statement, looked like it wasn't even written by him, that was released, where some apology was done in a more succinct way or whatever, that I guess qualified the that met the standards of the apology police. So there's that. So I guess he met the standard of the apology police. He suspended 5 games, and they are plotting on trading him. They are plotting on possibly trading him, which further means, going back to the first story of the day, Ime Udoka is going to be walking into even more of a shitstorm. Ime Udoka is going to be walking into even more of a shitstorm. So there's that with those 2 stories. Now, I'll put the link in the chat, but as I put the link in the chat, and y'all come on up and have y'all say on this, I really would rather talk about Malika Andrews, because whenever I let y'all come up and talk about the people with small hats, I have to put it on Patreon. So I'd rather talk about Malika Andrews, calling for I said she's calling for him to be banned. That was my interpretation. Of it. But let's see if I get the link right. Put the link in the chat. Now, this is something that if you watch my shorts, or you see the pre-records that I put out there, this is something that I unearthed and I found, and it was kind of tongue-in-cheek. As I wait for y'all to come up, I'll talk about this. This was kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it was interesting. Now, full disclosure, I don't think that the Lakers did, and this turned into a whole sports show, well, sports adjacent show. I don't think that the Lakers necessarily did anything wrong on purpose. But what do y'all think about the mere fact that it was a Takeoff and Quavo song playing? This was like 24 hours after Takeoff died. 24 hours after Takeoff died. Oh, let me be specific. 24 hours after Takeoff got shot. They're playing one of his songs in the arena, where the chorus of the song is, "But the shots can't miss." And I'm sitting there like, you kind of like, you're kind of a little tone deaf, or on some bad timing, really bad timing. And I mean really, really bad timing to play that song, and the shots can't miss when the person singing the song just got shot by a shot that didn't miss, just got shot and killed by a shot that didn't miss. And it's like, I'm like, come on. It's like the level of unself-awareness, tone deaf, too soon, and just bad timing. Mixed with the double entendre of the Lakers are the worst shooting team in the league, have no business, because they was playing it in the context of the shots in basketball. The shots can't miss, where they the worst shooting team in the league. So the shots miss all the time with them. The shots always miss with them. They're the worst shooting team in the league. But I understand what they were trying to do. That song should have been pulled. That song should have been pulled. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That song should have been pulled. But either way, we are joined here today by Christian Hutchison in the building. What is going on?
Hey, Bernard. It's been crazy at work, but I'm not going to be here long because I got some other things I got to take care of. But I'll send you email about this month or whatever.
Okay, cool.
But to piggyback on this, been a busy week, huh? So I'll first off with Miss Andrews. To me, it's very evident what Miss Andrews is trying to do. What she wants to do, she's trying to position herself as that she gets to be the moral authority in the NBA as like a journal, as her position of holding the show that she has, and also some of the backing that she has. Looking to her background, and some things start adding up. What's kind of going on there? So we'll just leave it at that. Next thing is, it was good that the other players on that show and the other analysts, they like avoided all the stuff that she was talking about. So that was good on their part. In terms of Ime, with him getting the job at the Nets, I look at it as kind of weird that he gets suspended and he is going to go get a job right away. I would have no problem with him like coaching next year, but it's weird to be suspended by one organization for this year and then going to go work at another one. I understand why they're letting him walk and they don't want compensation. I get that, what their reasoning for that is. That makes 100% sense in that regard. But it is kind of weird. Like if he's suspended, he shouldn't be able to work, and now they shouldn't be able to block him from working. Like so.
Well, I think it's a difference between a league suspension and a
yeah,
Celtics.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. The Celtics suspended him, not the league suspended him. So
Yeah.
it's just like, players get suspended. They get sent home for contract detrimental to the team, and they get sent home like the Keyshawn Johnson rule, right? We all get that. So, but anyway, I completely get that. Now, in terms of the things that have been going on here on social media, I'm not going to get into, the people involved, but this is the thing I find interesting. And Jason Whitlock, he editorialized this a couple days ago. There's a lot of heat on Kyrie Irving, which he's a basketball player in the big scheme of things. He's nobody.
Mm-hmm.
He's nobody in the big scheme of things. There's no smoke for Amazon and Bezos and the different people who are there's no smoke for them, and they're actually profiting. And that's the problem. And I've talked to some of my non-black friends and associates, and I've brought that up, and some of them are going like, wait a second, that is kind of crazy how everyone has all this smoke for Kyrie, but if it's truly a problem, and I think it is, I think it's probably just the highlights I've heard. I didn't watch it because I don't want to. Because I know who it's backed by, and I know those guys are a bunch of clowns. So,
who's it backed by? Who's it backed by?
It's produced by some people who are like basically adjacent or within the Black Hebrew Israelite community. So I don't agree with them. So I'm not gonna I don't need to watch it. I don't need to watch it. That's not for me.
So you just think they're just clowns just on the face of it. I mean, that was my initial thought when I first heard about them, but then now I'm neutral to it. I'm neutral to it because I don't even want to get into it. So, but I let them rock, so to speak. I let them rock, so to speak. I know I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. So that's not but my whole thing is, if this is truly this damaging and it's this bad for public consumption, why is it still widely available? Like, this should be removed from the public marketplace. And that's all I'm saying. If it's truly like that, and another thing is too, why isn't the ADL up? Why aren't they going after Amazon or Bezos? I know Bezos isn't running Amazon anymore, but he's still like the largest share. He's still the largest shareholder, and it's his company. I think he's still the executive chairman or something like that.
Yeah.
Why aren't they going after them? Why aren't certain people who are Amazon employees, why aren't they going crazy? Like when Dave Chappelle, he had his special, and people were not happy within Netflix about his content that were employees who were from certain communities, and they made a stink. I'm not seeing that, and it makes me wonder: is this just something that it feels like that this is manufactured outrage, or this is something?
Yeah.
This is not. They don't really. They don't really care. They're just trying to. They're trying to just beat up on somebody. Now, mind you, I have no issue with Kyrie being suspended 5 games. If they want to suspend him 10 games, because he's about to cost the NBA a lot of money, and he's really messing up the NBA's image. So, if they said, if they wanted to cut him and kick him out the league, because he's messing with a lot of money, and because he can't keep his mouth shut. So,
Yeah.
I actually have no problem with that, because, what type of damages you're talking about? Just like when, if the NBA stood up for Daryl Morey when he did his stuff with Hong Kong, but if they wanted to go nuclear and jettison him out the league, because I think he cost them with Tencent, that was something like $400 million a year or something crazy like that for broadcast rights that Tencent pays over in China.
Mm.
And it might be a $400 million deal. It may be 40 million. It's a very large number. I think they have a $400 million deal with Tencent to broadcast in China, and they blacked out NBA games because of him over there.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even look at it from that perspective. If he's, costing them money, I do look at it from a perspective that, okay, you work for a company, you have a certain image to uphold, so it's certain things that you can't really be publicly attached to. I mean, it's kind of like that. If your company is that big in public and the work that you do is big in public, then it's like you're on the clock 24/7, and that's a tough place to be. But hell, if you get to make, the 10 to 20 million dollars a year for the course of 15 years, then I think it's worth it. So so that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. But real quick, Sodomy and Chicken in the building. He says, if cheating on your wife was a bannable offense, then most of the NBA would be banned. I think ESPN needs to ban her. She is not worth the trouble. Yeah, she it's getting weirder and weirder over there with her and the shit she's doing. It's getting weirder and weirder. She's basically, I've spoken a lot on it, so I'll keep it moving. But Sodomy and Chicken in the building says, I think it's because they are on guard to never let those things happen again, which is why they try to nip any anti-Semitism in the bud. See, I think part of the problem is that you're accepting the premise that that movie was probably, I haven't seen that movie. That movie probably does fit the definition. I don't like how everything gets smuggled into the definition of some people that I've never even seen have a transgression happen again. I don't even want to get into that. I reject the premise on that term damn near. It's like I don't get it. I don't get
But
it.
my whole thing, if it is, why is it still allowed up on Amazon?
Yeah, they
If
could.
like, remove it, please. Like, I'm not. Yeah, if it is, just remove it. It's just that simple.
Yeah, they could go after the people that are distributing it. Even if it's a free country, they can't go after the people who produced it. The people who produced it, they should have to sell it privately out of their trunk. If it's really that bad, they should have to sell it out of from their own distribution company, or sell it out their trunk like Master P sold his first CD, something like that. Something like that, if it's really that harmful. But yeah, you can go after the distribution instead of trying to go after Kyrie. You can go after Amazon. So yeah, that's really the end all point right there. That they won't go after them, but they'll try to bully Kyrie into just publicly saying, I'm sorry, just basically just to try to, put it on the hearts and minds of everybody else that, ooh, don't say nothing bad about them. And so it's like it's a weird game that they play. It's a weird game that they play. But game changer in the building. What is going on? What you got?
Hey, what's going on,
Either of the-
Bernard?
Yeah,
So
what you got
I
on
didn't
either
hear
of the
much of
topics
what.
here?
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying what you got on either of the topics here. Go ahead, I hear you.
Oh yeah, I don't really know both topics, nor do I know much about each of them. But from what I heard in the last 5 minutes or so, as far as the Anti-Defamation League, it really goes into a conversation we were having yesterday or the day before, where we were talking about control your image and the importance of it. Because in the Black community, we have people who simply like, they lynched people in suits back in the day, so why not just screw up your image completely? But no, it does seem like more successful people, and people who move more freely in this country are hyper concerned about their image. And not only do they try to check any damage to their image every opportunity they get, they also work to assure that they don't destroy and disrupt their own image with their own behavior. Your ethnic reputation is very important, and other groups seem to understand that. We strive to damage our ethnic reputation because somebody was lynched generations ago in a suit. That's weird. So yeah, there's definitely a there. I'm not saying whether they're wrong or right or hypersensitive or anything like that. I am saying that they do it and they're prosperous, and we don't do it and we're not.
Well, let me challenge you a little bit on this. I think we do it, just do it differently. It's a weird thing. It's a weird
what
thing.
we do is we make a fuss when somebody treat us like niggas and then continue to support those who behave as such.
There it is. that's the perfect distinction.
Yeah, and
that's the perfect distinction. Yeah,
and we also fight for our right to behave as niggas. So yeah.
If you made a fuss and did basically what they did when somebody did the smallest thing wrong to you, then that would be one thing. But if somebody is treating you as if you're like, well, you shorthanded it, but treating you like you're a nigga, and then when people are when Black people are essentially acting like niggas, and then those same people that want to complain because this person got treated like he was a nigga, want to advocate for that person to continue acting that way. He should be able to act that way. He should be able to stand up and twerk on the table at this establishment. He should be able to. Should be able to do all kinds of crazy, out of pocket stuff. I'm trying not to rehash too hard the conversation we had on the last show. I know exactly where you're going.
But like the brother was saying yesterday, people are ignorant if they assume you're a nigga when so many of you behave in a niggerish way. And twerking on the table is an example of that. I should be able to twerk on the table, but you shouldn't call me a thought. Is essentially what's going on now. What God's chosen people are doing is they're saying, listen, nobody is behaving like a thought, so don't call us a thought. And that is a better ground to stand on.
Yeah, so that's sort of why the civil rights movement argument, that era when he's going Jim Crow, when he says, people were being lynched and they got lynched in suits. Well, okay, they were being treated bad, but they had a leg to stand on. They weren't behaving bad whatsoever. They were
exactly.
They were acting like upstanding people, so they demanded to be treated that way. But now it's flipped around to where people want to act in a most non-upstanding way, but still demand to be treated in an upstanding way. So yeah, that is a clear difference.
Well, the technique of the civil rights movement is pointing out how making the system look bad. You see a bunch of people get hit with water hoses and German shepherds and stuff like that, and society at large judged them poorly. They say, look at what you're doing to these people. However, if you see a bunch of niggas get treated like that, then you say, look at what's happening to these niggas. It's a different reaction.
That's why I didn't like the passiveness of it was a certain level of passiveness that I didn't like, but it was effective in the sense that it automatically exposed who the bad guy was.
Exactly.
When you're doing that to
Exactly.
somebody who's literally not doing nothing wrong. I'm going
Exactly.
to, yeah. So yeah,
So it is a much better ground to stand on, and not really stand because water hose, but it's a much better ground to get soaked on because your ethnic reputation is superb, and now people really don't care as much, and
So
with good reason.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
so
Then we go to Pablo next.
there's a layer that this is maybe this is conspiracy theory. So get your tinfoil hat out. So when you go on the internet right now, there's a lot of talk that that all the racism, sexism, anti-trans, homosexual, all this is strictly in the black community. It's all black people responsible for this. I think what you're seeing is that because of a lot of the racial injustice, the racial justice marches in 2020 and other things, that what you're seeing is a percolating of a backlash that's going to build, that's going to push back heavily against black people, because what they're going to do is they're because of particularly the NBA, they were very out front with being, with the Black Lives Matter stuff and some of this other thing with racial justice, and so that's making everyone examine the NBA players greatly. But I think the owners have a little bit to do with it too. If you think about it, the NBA players have gotten a little out of control in the last 5 or 10 years. They've relaxed the dress code. You got players sitting out seasons because of, they don't like their teams. They're forcing trades. They're doing this and this and this. This is all a part of a PR buildup. When they go to the next CBA, they're going to take them to the woodshed. This is because they are going to remove the good. They're going to remove the goodwill from the players. So that way, when the CBA comes up, they're going to say, you know what? The owners will have the people on their side and not the players. And what they're going to do is they're building up the thing of, now these players are out of touch. Look, they promote, anti-Semitism. They're racist. They're homophobic. And then on top of that, they sit here and they complain about race. They complain about racism against the black community, but they do the same thing against everyone else that's not related to them.
I like I'm gonna go to you real quick, Pablo, but I like the idea of the owners in the next collective bargaining agreement where the players been basically winning that shit. As far as I'm concerned, NBA contract is like even when I was like extremely dialed in and could name at least 8 or 9 players on every team, I would see somebody who I didn't like. Who the hell is that's getting $15 million a year? That happened a few times where somebody who I barely could name was getting nearly $20 million a year. Like the NBA is killing it with the contracts. Like they doing damn good. And so I would like it if the owners actually argued, like, okay, I see what's going on here. We got them doing shit where they're sitting out seasons because they don't like the coach, or they don't like the team, or they're not filling up for it. And so they're sitting out, not playing to force trades, and they're doing this and they're doing that. If those owners be like, okay, we working it into here where y'all can't do this shit no more, I'll be all for that. If they basically just use what's been happening and they say basically there's a monetary loss that we take. We got players sitting out game because they need to rest. They're tired. They're all the bullshit. Those owners got leverage now after watching what's been happening, where they making super team after super team because this player was mad and he didn't like him. So I want to play over there. I demand a trade, but you got to trade me to LA. It's like, what? So yeah, so I'm with it. I'm with it. I do want the owners to tighten some shit up, because they getting their money, but just tighten up to make sure that they can't do all that random bullshit. But all right, go ahead, Pablo. You got it.
Hey, how you doing, Bernard?
Doing good.
My mic okay today?
And you snap, crackle, pop Rice Krispies every time you come through here.
Okay.
It's all right. Go ahead. You the only one get that pass, Pablo. Go ahead, man.
Okay. So I'm gonna come at this Kyrie Irving situation from a bit of a different angle. I'm gonna come at it from the business angle.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you remember when we had a run of white girl Karens? Karen
Okay.
after Karen was picking up the phone and calling the police on black men. You can go to YouTube and Google, Karen loses job, and a whole string of them will come up of all of these white women who falsely called the police on black men, right? Or black people in general. Now, there is no law preventing these women from doing this. There's no law that says you cannot pick up and call the police and ask for services, and they are obligated to come out and investigate it, right? So, guess what happened to those women when black folks got up in arms and said, oh, look who you got working for your company, Mr. IBM. It's this Karen girl. Do you want to be associated with her? And guess what they said? Oh, no. Oh, we don't want to be associated with none of that. Karen, report to HR.
You know what?
Karen,
I told people that was a bad idea. I was telling people back then that when they were going after people's job that was going to take people that they ain't ready for where it's headed.
But Pablo is on to something, because
Yeah,
that's sort of what I
that's
was getting at. That's sort of what I was getting at with Game Changer, is like we have our own loose confederacy, not quite as organized brand of anti-defamation league our damn self, where we be getting people fired too, So
put Karen in the go on and put Karen loses job in the YouTube thing and see how many of them come up. Oh, they're coming. So, and this is my thing though. Free speech means the government cannot punish you for saying anything pretty much. The government can't punish you. It does not mean that you won't have repercussions in other areas of your life. Kyrie Irving takes $40 million a year from a Jewish man who owns the New Jersey Nets.
He's Chinese, actually.
Okay, but the people who run it for him, for the Chinese guy, are Jewish. He also plays for a league that's run by Adam Silver, a Jewish man. He also lives lives and works in an area heavily populated by Jewish people. He shot himself in the foot when they called him into the office and said, "Hey, about this post you put, it's a little problematic. Would you like to explain why you posted it and what are your thoughts behind it?" When asked about it, he basically said, "Oh, well, I'm a Jew. I'm a Jew too, if you know the history." Wrong answer, bro. Wrong answer. Then, when he would not apologize, guess what? They suspended him. After they suspended him to 5 games and took his money away, then he said, "I'm sorry." Nah, bruh.
Well, hold on. He didn't say I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, he did. He said, "I apologize." He finally uttered the words, "I apologize."
I didn't hear him utter
after
those
they took his
words.
money.
Well,
he put it in a statement.
In the statement.
It was in a written statement. He didn't give them. He didn't give them the satisfaction of looking in the camera saying I'm sorry. He didn't do that. So I give him. He was like, all right, I ain't about to apologize, because I mean, people of the Black Hebrews,
So,
they like, hey, we the Jews.
My question is,
they say we the Jews too. So whatever, and I ain't about to apologize for this shit. But for business purposes, I'll put a formal statement. I'll have somebody put a formal statement in writing. That's sort of what I think happened there. But
okay,
but go ahead.
so
go
my question is, why are Black people so dumb at business reaching for the revolutionary shit?
Explain.
It's bad business. It's bad business to give up, I don't know, $1.2 million that he might miss from 5 games. It's bad business just because you want to be woke. You could do more with the $1.5 million to help Black people than you can with going on some stupid tirade about, Jews in Africa. It's ridiculous.
Well, you have to understand the demographic he's playing to. You have to understand. You're thinking like somebody who actually cares about doing something to move the needle. He's trying to score basically clout points with a bunch of guys who run around in Power Ranger uniforms.
Cut it out, man. Cut it out. So you do make a good point with the clout getting clout thing from them just to get them to rile up to say yeah. But Pablo make a good point because I heard something. I was watching something today on the way in, and they were saying he makes $250,000 a game or $200,000 a game or something like that.
He made something like that.
Yeah. So yeah. So if he lost $1.5 million, if he really wanted to get some clout points, he should have been like, those 5 games he got suspended. Yeah, he could have took that 1.5 mil or 1.2 mil or whatever it come up to and gave it to the people that and like here's money to make an even better documentary. Go, and I probably can't do it while I'm playing, but when I retire, I'm definitely gonna be posting all of your future projects that I'm funding.
Actually, he makes $487,000 a game.
No, that's way too much.
No, because he makes $40 million, right?
I think. Damn, man. It's like I said, man. Them NBA players, they are getting paid. They're getting paid. I want them to keep getting their money, but if the owner's gonna have any leverage, stop all this just taking games off and all of this ability to force and demand trades. And I demand a trade, but you only can trade me to Brooklyn or LA or this or that. And the players got them by the balls. They just doing it's set up to where the players can do the most. They can do too much.
So he earns $33.3 million, $33.33 million per year. That was his contract for this year, 33.3.
All right, now the question that Freeman's Journal
a game.
The question that Freeman's Journal is asking, and this goes not so much with Kyrie Irving. This goes back more to the whole Malika Andrews situation and what I call the unhostile takeover of ESPN and the whole works. They he's saying are black because they've got Malika Andrews on there. She's just doing all kind of out of pocket disrespectful things to black men and whatever. Excuse me. He says he's asking. He says, "I ask again: are black men upset enough to not watch ESPN? We fake black people.
I don't watch ESPN really anymore.
Yeah. Black people fake boycotted the NFL for like a year and a half." But so I don't I think he's really asking, are we going to organize a fake boycott of ESPN? But what y'all thoughts on that?
I mean, all I watch is my Pistons. I might catch something on NBA TV, but
life is awful for you.
I went to a game I actually went to the game. Went to a game opening night. Had good seats too.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. I'll be the first to do it if nobody else will. I will not watch ESPN or basketball in outrage to whatever is going on.
You ain't watching you boycotting you boycotting ESPN. That's like you boycotting Chloe Bailey's panties.
No, if given the opportunity, I would definitely embrace it. Yeah. If given season tickets to Warriors, I probably would give it to somebody else.
It's more like a game changer boycotting transsexual midgets. No, that would be the equivalent.
Like he was not. He was never interested. You're saying?
Exactly.
We assume he was never interested.
Yeah, I came up with a point. It would be a pointless boycott for you to boycott Chloe Bailey's panties too, because you weren't invited to that. But Pablo got the better analogy. It's like boycotting something that you don't want to watch anyway. That's transsexual.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Good one. But
no, just in case Chloe Bailey watching, I am not boycotting.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Where was we at? But so overall, I don't see a boycott coming out of it. One thing that I do know, I don't know too many people that pay a cable bill. I've decided last year that I was done with that shit, and I'm currently figuring out different creative ways to watch my sports because it just ain't worth it paying all that money just to watch. I just to watch a game here and there. It's like that's the only thing I pay for. Everything else that I streaming and all that stuff. So I don't even know how they get their money. They're gonna start going completely digital in a little bit too in the streaming for all sports. That's where that shit is going. So
You can get YouTube TV. That's only like $70 a month.
No. I got a better hookup going on. But shout out to Sodomy and Chicken came back in here with another one. He says, "Who's better at self cooking, Kyrie or Hafifi?"
Hafiz.
I know who. They've called him Hafiz because he was in his feelings. I don't know. I don't even know how you relating the two. I don't know how you relating the two.
Both had unforced errors and shot themselves in the foot and ruined.
I don't equate the two. Like, put it like this: if he got suspended for the whole year, I would definitely go with what you're saying.
They said at least 5 games. So that means that they might hit him for more. They said at least. They didn't say 5. They said at least 5.
Yeah. That would be bad. That would be bad. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, part of me, I don't think what he did was wrong. I mean, okay. Now I can't look at what he did as wrong. So I don't know. I'm divided on how I feel about him doing that, but having a business mind and being self-aware, it seemed like you wouldn't even bring that out. You would figure out a better way to advocate for something. Like he's advocating like somebody who don't got money, power, and poor. Like what Kanye say. Copy. He will emulate what the Jews would do. Okay, what would the Jews do in Kyrie's position? Okay, he wants to try to ignite some influence. He wants to support that in some kind of way. That documentary. Okay, I think it would be better served for him to be behind the scenes, barely put his name or face on it if he can avoid it, but put the money behind a pretty damn intense advertising campaign to get that out there in circulation to where as many people as possible could see it, buy it, watch it, or just do something behind the scenes. Use your money to influence media behind the scenes. Like do that. Like, but just I mean, he did it. He did it the way that black people do things.
Or just make a post on your 17 million your 17 million followers on Instagram. Just make a post. I mean, that's what he did.
Well, that's kind of what he did.
Yeah, that's what
he did.
He can go put out a bunch of money, right, and try to do an ad campaign, or he can just make a post on Instagram or Twitter.
We love. Okay, I think I just froze. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell if something happened. It's like everything blinked. We said too much about the Jews. All right. But anyway, oh, now he gone.
Who was that?
He just came up to show off his Dave something Lockett. I forgot his first name. He's been on the show before. Interesting guy. But I think he just wanted to show off his little colorful background he had going. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna drop because I got to get back to work now. But yep. So yeah, everyone.
Right.
But yeah, that's just my take. I think this is all set up for I think deep down, this whole thing, what's going on with the Kyrie, this is the opening shot of the owners trying to take back control of the league. So
you got an interesting take on that, and I will be paying attention to that. I will be paying attention to that if the owners do try to get the league back by the balls again, because yeah, the players they just be doing the most. And I'm glad they don't get it twisted. I'm glad they're getting their money, but I do want a better product out on the court. I do want I want them to get their money, but I don't want them to have too much control to the point to where they, in their own way, start ruining the league. And what I mean by that is, I'm divided because super teams are fun. I like to watch a good super team, but I like it better when, it's not so much of a super team where the talent is a little more spread out. And, a good team got, a superstar, one all-star, some good role players. I like it better like that versus the super team. So if they could get rid of stuff like that, if they could figure out a way to just make it to the point where the players aren't just basically just running roughshod doing whatever the hell they want to do. I want them to get their money. But yeah, the way the players be just having just way too much control, demanding trades, but I demand a trade, but it got to be to this team. Like, nah, you shouldn't be like that. That's what you become a free agent for. That's what you become a free agent for. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody who's supported the stream. Shout out to everybody who supported the stream. The link is in the chat if anybody else want to come up and participate in this thing. Anybody want to come participate in this thing? Had a number of topics on the table. We talked about the Malika Andrews essentially doing what I interpreted as calling for the ban of Ime Udoka. You got Kyrie Irving suspended, supposedly on the trade block. I'm all for it. Send him to LA. You got that going on. And you got a story that I unearthed while watching NBA League Pass where I think it was unintentional, but still very tone deaf too soon and bad timing. Playing the Quavo and Takeoff song where the chorus is, but the shots can't miss. Playing it because at a basketball game, talking about the shots can't miss for the worst shooting team in the league, but they're playing it while the team warming up, but the shots can't miss. That's what the chorus is, but the shots can't miss. Less than 24 hours after the person singing the song was shot by a shot that didn't miss. Bad timing. Bad timing. Either bad timing, tone deaf, or just outright disrespect from whoever was on the ones and twos. That's all. But a possible trolling. 80% it was just tone deaf and bad timing. 10% disrespect, and another 10% maybe they trolling. Maybe they was trolling. Maybe. But yeah, the Lakers, they that was interesting. But we are almost at the 2-hour mark. We'll probably wrap this thing up if nobody else want to come up. Yeah, I understand players have always demanded trades. And I'm fumbling trying to figure out the distinct difference because it just seems it's a different ball game right now. It's like, put it like this. Players be figuring out ways to sit out and not play until they get traded. It's all kind of stuff that they can do to where I would prefer it to where some of the stuff that they could get away with doing. I would like it if they like you're gonna lose pay trying to sit out. Like it be players on payroll getting paid while sitting out and stuff. I mean, it's all kind of stuff that they do. Like players do stuff to basically force the hand of the organization. And when they start doing stuff like that, I don't want them to be able to do that. I want the organization to be like, no, we're paying you money. You got to come your ass out here and perform at your best. If you start bullshitting and doing, if you get on some bullshit to try to force our hand to trade you, then you're gonna lose money. You got like all I'm asking for is player accountability. Show up. You're not injured. Show up to play. That's all I'm saying. Shout out to JC the Conqueror says, you know who has the power when you can't discuss them. Yeah. But we was talking about how black people be flexing a little bit of power too, but it's different. It's different, and some would even say it's not power. But I said we have our own scattershot, unorganized form of the Anti-Defamation League, where a Karen a Karen who did something. Now she's going to work for a company 6 months later, and they're like, internet, let's pull her up. And you sure you want to hire this person? And then this is what we do. When something happened where some white person do something racist to a black person, and the location is ascertained, everybody pull up at his house. They pull up at his house, protesting, they make a spectacle out of it. They get him in the news. They make sure that whatever he did go even more viral. And there's actual websites where they keep an eye on it. They watch these people every move, and they make sure that they can't get hired somewhere. Now, which is weird because we live in a country where they tell us it's a system of white supremacy, and then black people can go to white people and say, "You sure you want to hire this white person that says something bad about black people?" It seems like that white person would be like, "Fuck you, I'm hiring him. What you gonna do?" Well, I guess they can go tell a bunch of advertisers and other white people or people who are associated with this company and how this company makes money that they did this awful thing. And then those white people are going to get fooled up with white guilt, clutch their pearls and say, "Oh no, we can't associate with them. They hired this person who did this bad thing at the park to a black person." And then so in that way, that's what I mean. We got our own little scattershot anti-defamation league where we low-key be doing that same shit that they be on. We low-key be doing that same shit that they be on. Perfect Storm, you said Kyrie may want to be traded. I'm thinking that's part of the game. See, I didn't even want to go all the way there, but I'm thinking Kyrie just might be smart enough. To actually do something controversial in the midst of Steve Nash getting fired, in the midst of them hiring a new coach, in the midst of them already damn near needed, and they damn near in blow it up mode. Yeah, go ahead and get those Lakers 2 draft picks. Yeah, go ahead and get Russell Westbrook's $47 million contract off the books for next season. They free up all that cap room, get 2 first-round draft picks for the future, and yeah, go ahead and do that. I think Kyrie may be on some. I'm gonna force you out of trade because I clearly need to blow this up anyway. You got Ben Simmons that don't work. You got Kyrie. You got KD who can ball, but KD is KD, and I don't know. That might be what's going on. That's a possibility. I won't just take off the table that Kyrie may be doing it on purpose because he want to be traded, but the Brooklyn Nets are saying because of your hurtful statements that you made, we don't want you to, you don't represent the values of our organization anymore. So they may be wanting to trade him. I don't know how the Lakers are going to pull that off. I just gave the scenario. Maybe they can pull that off. Maybe they can't. Yeah, you're saying the Yay plan. That's what some people are arguing. He wanted out, so he said some shit to force his way out. But I don't know if that's I don't know if that's what he's doing. I just don't know if that's what he's doing. I don't know. I can't really tell. It's hard to say. So, there's that. But all right, we closing in on the 2-minute mark. So, and don't look like nobody else is coming up. And I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. So we's about to get the hell out of here. But before we get out of here, let me post just in case I didn't see it. It's a 2-part thing. It's a 2-part video. It's a short, damn it. Here, if y'all didn't see this, let me throw this out there. This is a video where I made this short the other day. Yesterday actually, to be exact. Yeah, made this short yesterday talking about how immediately after takeoff, less than 24 hours after takeoff was shot, Lakers was in their arena playing his song, and the shots can't miss. after he got shot by a shot that didn't miss. Check that out. Check that out. Watch it. Go ahead and watch it. Watch it to the end. Give it a like, and then click the link in the description of that video, and watch the short too, because the short is where I play the full video that I'll get a strike for playing the music, but it's just a short. I didn't care. So go ahead. You can see how they was playing it all throughout the arena. It was pretty. It was kind of funny. But anyway, you said no, the shot did miss. That depends on what story you believe. If you believe that it was somebody in their camp, then the shot did miss and hit takeoff. But if you believe it was somebody in the other people camp, then the shot didn't miss, and the song was prophetic, which is fucked up. I hate to, but yeah. But peace, y'all. I gotta get out of here. Thank you for coming through. Thank you everybody who supported the stream in any way, shape, or form. Appreciate each and every one of you. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We gone.